All right, the philosophical views on government. So there are really four main theories of government. These four theories come from Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau, and Montesquieu. Now, there are other philosophers out there that really have a lot of views about government, how government is going to sit. So there are more we could talk about. However, for here, we're just going to focus on these four individuals. Now, these theories are important because they are going to be influenced by their perception of man. Now, I use the word man simply because that's the terminology that they used at this time. Man is naturally good, man is naturally evil, all these different things. So when we hear the term man like this, it's just going to be talking about human nature. So do understand that right through there. These four theories, again, looking at the perception of man from the start. Now, in order to understand how man looked from the start, we need to look at the state of nature. Now, the state of nature is the hypothetical life of people before societies came into existence. So this is a hypothetical. It's not really something that necessarily actually happened, but more of a theory, a kind of thinking tool to figure out how humanity exists and how humanity became the way that it is today and why we were this way or are this way. So we look at the state of nature, before societies were existing, but when it was just individual people living on their own. It's an attempt to explain the transition of how societies were formed, how these societies were made in the first place, why we as humans decided to start socializing with one another, coming together, acting as a community versus as individuals. Basically, it's what was man naturally like? Okay, what is human nature? How are humans naturally going to be? These four philosophers attempted to explain it in different theories. Okay, so what you see right here, we see the green grass and the blue sky of just Earth. Okay, humanity comes on in here. Here is man, and this right here is the state of nature. What is it like? Well, that's going to change depending on the philosophical view that you would be taking. Now, the first one I'm going to talk about is this man right here with the lovely long hair and lack of hair on the top of his head, Thomas Hobbes. Now, Thomas Hobbes has a negative view of nature. He believes that people are naturally equal, so that humans are naturally equal. However, that they are in a constant state of war, and this is simply a desire to survive. So humanity is constantly fighting with one another. Individuals are constantly fighting simply because the desire to stay alive is going to be the kind of paramount desire for these people. So again, we have the green grass and the blue sky, the state of nature according to Thomas Hobbes. We have this man right over here. Now, previously, it was just man existing like this. Now, as societies start to form, this man sees another man, okay? This man also sees a chicken. And this man looks at this chicken as something he can eat. Okay. Now, if his natural desire is to survive, he's going to need this food. And if his natural desire, as Hobbes states, is to be at a constant state of war, he is going to see that man across from him not as an asset to help him get more chickens and thus more food, but as a possible enemy of someone who might take that food from him. So, of course, if this is the case, man is going to act out of sheer desire for self-preservation, protecting his own individual need for survival, kill that man with the rock you can see right there, go over, and then he has a chicken dinner. Okay, so this is a state of nature according to Hobbes. Man's not going to work together for the common good. Man is going to do what's naturally best for that individual person's survival. If that means killing another individual for a rock, or over a chicken for a rock, so be it. That is the way he sees it. John Locke, on the other hand, this man right through here, believes that there's a mutual obligation to protect natural rights. John Locke has his three unalienable rights to life, liberty, and property. Sometimes you'll hear this referred to as life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These are certain rights that cannot be taken away from any individual, and that everyone just has. According to John Locke, the survival of the species and the individual is what is most important, and that humans harm others only when it is about self-defense. So only when a human is trying to protect another individual does he harm another individual. So again, state of nature according to Locke, we have the green grass and the blue sky. We have the man right through here. He is now coming into society, and there is a cow. Okay, so according to John Locke, the man is not going to kill the other man and have the entire cow as it would be with Mr. Hobbes. However, he is going to see the cow as a potential source of hamburger, source of food. He is going to then take the rock, okay? Instead of throwing it at the other individual and killing him, for his own survival, as Hobbes would state, he is going to take it and he is going to stone the cow. Now the cow is dead, the cow can be turned into a hamburger, and because the survival of the species is what's most important, he's going to take it, he is going to share that hamburger with someone else, he's going to have his own hamburger, and again, survival of the species is what is most important, okay? Because people can be together, and now society can continue to progress, and we can have more and more and more and more and more and more babies, allowing the human race to prosper. And these babies just keep on coming in. Good. Next one is JeanJacques Rousseau, okay? JeanJacques Rousseau right here believes that man has no natural moral obligation, and this whole question of how man naturally was with society is kind of dumb because man naturally lived alone as an isolated creature. Therefore, there is no natural moral obligation. However, there is a natural desire for self-preservation. Unlike other animals, according to Rousseau, humans had the ability to change their nature. So humans can change from being naturally evil to naturally good, and vice versa. He kind of takes a little bit of the more middle ground between Hobbes and Locke, coming to this kind of different conclusion right through there. He also talks about this thing called the social contract theory, which is where you give up some rights in order for the greater good. For example, okay, you give up your right to drive wherever you want on the road because you would prefer people not to drive through the playground that your child is playing at. That's kind of an example of that. You give up some freedoms because you think it's better for the common good. So for example, we give up the freedom to carry fireworks on an aircraft because we realize that it could be dangerous. We would prefer the person next to us not carry fireworks onto an aircraft. Now, second nature to Rousseau, once again, blue sky, green grass. We have the man right through here. We have another man. Okay, they're coming into existence from society. Originally, he would have been living just like this, all alone in his own little happy world, and then people come along and wreck everything. No, that is a joke, okay? Sees this right here, and he's like, what the heck? There's others like me. I don't know really how to feel about this. This is a little bit different, but this is okay. Now, this other man, okay, decides that he is going to kill you. I am going to kill you. He's got the big spear right there. And now, man having a natural desire for, again, to protect himself, he is only going to act now because he has to. He's saying, no, I must stay alive. I'm sorry, but I have to kill you because it's what I need to do to protect myself. So there just happens to be a nice little axe laying on the ground. He's going to take it. He's going to throw it right into his head. Snop. Man disappears. Okay. Again, I wish I didn't have to do this, but you gave up your right by threatening me right through here. So this is kind of that social contract theory starting to come into existence. The last one is Baron de Montesquieu. He believes that liberty, as he's going to call it, which just means safety. So he believes that safety only came from following the rules. That government must make and enforce strict rules, that if government just makes rules but doesn't enforce them, society will crumble. If government is trying to enforce rules that don't exist, society will crumble. He believes that the more rules that are enforced, you're going to have ultimately more freedom. You will have less problems as a result of having these more freedoms, and then you will have a better life in the end. He also believes in a separate but equal system of government, kind of with checks and balances. The best way to think of this is kind of like a stool, okay, that's got 3 legs. In order for that stool to stand up, the government to stand up, all legs must work together. He usually believes in, he talks about 3 different systems: a legislative branch to make laws, an executive branch to enact the laws, execute the laws, and then a judicial branch to make sure the laws are following correct values, making sure they're in line with kind of the legal structure, and make sure that people have punishment if they do not follow those laws in place. If one of the legs of the stool falls down, the whole stool will crumble. If one leg is too tall, the stool is not going to be stable. It's going to fall down. Those are kind of the systems he's looking at right through here. Additionally, these different legs kind of work off of one another. They have to work together. Not one of the legs is more important than the other. They all have an equal amount of balance. If not, the stool will fall. Now, the state of nature, according to Montesquieu, right here, we have the green grass and a bit of a cliff, and then we have man on top of the cliff. And down below, we have a happy baby. There's a sign, a rule on top of the cliff that says, do not throw rocks. The man not being a very nice man, decides to throw that rock and disobey the strict set of rules that are in place. The rock goes and hits the baby on the head, bouncing once and twice before falling to the ground. The baby no longer exists, and because society must enforce these strict rules, this man must go to jail because he did not follow the rules. Without this in place, society will not exist. There is no liberty, there is no happiness, and everything is bad. That is the state of nature and the four philosophers we're going to be talking about today. If you have any questions or comments, please do let me know. We'll take it from there. Otherwise, I will see you later. Take care. Good luck.